Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Breaking the 3D. Today I want to discuss a topic that I refer to as everything is in divine order. And a side note to that is that everything happens in divine timing. So I think something that a lot of people struggle with, especially when it comes to believing in a quote-unquote God. To be honest with you, I don't like using the word God because I feel that it automatically puts a lot of people off. Actually, this is the perfect time to tell a quick story. I remember, to exemplify what I'm referring to, I remember there was one time I was at the casino and I heard this dealer, very sweet lady, she goes, "I don't believe in God, I believe in the universe." And I looked at her and I thought for a second and I said, it's the same thing, because it is. There's a million different names for God, but really, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I'm not saying that I know what God is, but from my vantage point, I simply think God is existence itself, and like the infinite space that the universe takes up. And existence itself and the universe itself has a consciousness. It has an awareness of everything, and everything within the universe is connected. And I believe that consciousness may be what some people would refer to as God. Anyhow, I do believe that this consciousness, this awareness, is controlling things and manipulating things to a certain degree behind the scenes. I do believe that we have free will, but again, going back to the theme of the video, everything is in divine order. So sometimes I think that, things in our lives seemingly go wrong, and in reality, it's all in divine order. It's all exactly how it's supposed to play out for our highest goods and for the highest goods of humanity. And now this can be very difficult sometimes because, when really bad things happen, war or death, crime, etc., most people think, how could a benevolent God allow this to happen? But what's important to realize is that sometimes bad things need to happen in order for a good outcome to occur. So I cannot prove to you guys the things that I'm saying are true. I'm simply sharing my beliefs, and they are beliefs. They are not necessarily cold hard facts. But I will share a quick story with the channel, which many of you may be familiar with, that exemplifies this concept of everything is in divine order. So, as many of you guys may know, I was in a car accident in 2018. I had been going through a very difficult time in my life at that point. I was having a very hard time getting over my then girlfriend slash ex-girlfriend. We actually had officially broken up just over a month before I got into the car accident. When I was in the car accident, I was very badly injured. My abdominal muscles were cut clean through by the seatbelt that I was wearing, and my small intestines was ruptured. So the doctors had to remove 3 feet of my small intestines, and then they had to sew back together my abdominal muscles. So a lot of the time something like this could kill you. Thankfully for me, the skin on the outside of my stomach was not cut. So everything was internal. Everything was internal bleeding. But this is something that, without modern medicine, I likely would have died, because part of my intestines died, and if they didn't remove that section of intestines that died and turned black, it's likely that I would have died. So anyhow, thank God for modern medicine. Sometimes. And this was one of those times. What happened after the initial accident, I ended up in the emergency room, and I was in extreme pain for about 10 hours until they put me into surgery. And then for the next 4 days, basically, I was in pure agony. And After 4 days of agony, oh, and also the pain was so bad that I could not even think. All I could think was, please God, make this pain stop. And after 4 days, the pain finally started to subside, and then I was able to think and I was able to reflect on my life. And I realized that I had a thought that this was not an accident. This was a result of every choice that I've made in my life up until this point in time. And if that's true, if this was a result of my choices, then I obviously wasn't making the right choices. And in an effort to keep this short, I basically said, in terms of my relationship, my health, and my job, all of these things need a full overhaul. And so that is what I decided to do afterwards. But the important thing was that although something really horrible had happened to me, I was still very positive, and somehow in a weird way, I felt like grateful. I mean, I think that I was feeling very grateful that I hadn't died, because that night that I was in the hospital, I was unsure if I was going to live or die. But I felt that in that moment when I had the thought, am I going to live or die? I thought, I have to try to live because of my parents, because how horrible it would be for them if I died, and how sad it would be for them. So if for nothing else, I had to try to live for my parents, and especially my mom, because I felt that that she would be very heartbroken if I died. So, and I also felt, for what it's worth, I felt that I was strong enough to withstand the injury that I had suffered. So anyhow, I think that it's important, when bad things come up, to try to keep a positive outlook and remember that everything is in divine timing, even if we don't understand it, and everything is in divine order. And the last thing I'll say, again, in an effort to keep this short, is a lot of these concepts, everything is in divine order, we are all creating the reality that we are experiencing. A bunch of these affirmations somehow came into my mind. I don't know where they came from, but I will cite this quote again from Nikola Tesla. In the universe there's a core of knowledge that exists. My mind is only a receiver. I have not penetrated the secrets of this core, but I know that it exists. I'm loosely paraphrasing. So anyhow, I believe that some of these affirmations have somehow been received by my mind, and I would like to share them with you guys, with the channel, because I believe that these affirmations are known by many individuals, but not by all of us, at least not consciously, because again, I'm not teaching you guys anything that you don't already know. I'm simply reminding you of things that you may have forgotten. So I hope that you guys like this video, and I'm going to keep these videos coming. Please let me know if there's anything that you guys would like me to discuss, and please like and subscribe. I'm going to sound like one of these broken YouTube channels, in the hopes of trying to spread these videos out to a slightly wider audience. That is my main goal here. I'm not making these videos for money. I'm not making them for fame, but I would like these messages to reach as wide an audience as possible for whoever the messages are meant to be received by, because I do believe very strongly that these messages will be quite helpful for the people that are meant to receive them. And that is why I'm making these videos, and I hope that you guys are enjoying them. I will talk to you guys again soon, and I hope everybody has a good day.